Hi Year 2, today is Tuesday the 9th of June and we're going to continue on with volume in maths. Today we're going to be comparing volumes that are measured in millilitres, which we learnt about yesterday. So for today's lesson you're going to need yesterday's work. We'll start off by marking it. You'll need some blank paper and a pencil for your guided practice and working things out. You'll need a partner. And you'll also need your 2B workbook. Now, I think there are still a few people who don't have their 2B workbooks yet. If you don't, I have included a picture in the PDF file from the workbook, so you can still do the same work. Now, looking at Monday's work, so yesterday we were reading the scales to measure these volumes. So A had 60 millilitres, B had 100 millilitres and C had 30 millilitres. The next set of three, the ones with the green liquid, were a bit trickier. The numbers on the scale went up in tens, but there were lines in between them without numbers. So looking at the whole scale, each line went up in fives. So D was 30 millilitres, E, the green liquid stopped at the small line halfway between 30 and 40, so that was 35 millilitres. For F had 15 millilitres. Now the next set with the orange liquid were very tricky. The numbers on the scale counted up in 20s, but there were still those lines in between. So all together, looking at the scale, each line went up in tens. So G had 40 millilitres. For H, the orange liquid stopped at the small line halfway between 60 and 80. Halfway between 60 and 80 is 70. So H had 70 millilitres and I had 30 millilitres. If you got all of those correct, then hopefully you spotted that the three jugs that contained the same volumes were jug C, jug D and jug I, because they all had 30 millilitres. Now today the problem we're going to start off with involves 3 bottles of soap. Now Ravi is going to help his mum to wash their car, and his mum asked him to get the bottle with the most soap. But Ravi doesn't know which one to choose. He can't see through the bottles, so he doesn't know what volume of soap is actually inside each bottle. So have a talk to your partner. What do you think Ravi should do? So well done if you said that Ravi should pour them into a measuring jug, because that's exactly what he did. So he started off with the pink soap, he poured it into a measuring jug, and found out that this bottle holds 70 millilitres of liquid. Then he poured in the green soap and found that that bottle holds 90 millilitres of liquid. And finally he poured in the orange soap and found that that bottle had 20 millilitres of soap inside. So now that we know how much soap is inside each bottle, we can figure out for Ravi which bottle he should use. We can also figure out which bottle holds the smallest volume. So Ravi wanted the bottle with the greatest volume, with the most soap. So he could choose the pink bottle with 70 millilitres, the green bottle with 90 millilitres, or the orange bottle with 20 millilitres. Now we know from our knowledge of number that 90 is the biggest number there. So which bottle should Ravi choose? He should choose the green bottle. And which bottle holds the smallest volume? Well, looking at those numbers, 70, 90 and 20, we know that 20 is the smallest of those three numbers. So the bottle that holds the smallest volume is the orange bottle. We can also use our less than, greater than, or equal to symbol to compare the volumes. So we've got 4 cups here. The green one has 35 millilitres in it, The red one has 50 millilitres in it, the pink one has 65 millilitres in it, and the blue one has 50 millilitres in it. And underneath, some cups have been paired up to be compared. So let's start with the pink and blue comparison. So the pink cup has 65 millilitres and the blue cup has 50 millilitres. So do you think we should use the less than symbol to say the pink cup has less than the blue cup? Should we use the greater than symbol to say the pink cup has more than the blue cup? Or should we use the equal to symbol to say that the pink cup has the same amount as the blue cup? We should use the greater than symbol because 65 millilitres is greater than or more than 50 millilitres. The pink cup is holding more liquid than the blue cup. Now we can compare the green cup and the red cup. So, should we use less than to say the green cup has less liquid than the red cup? Should we use the greater than symbol to say the green cup has more liquid than the red cup? Or should we use the equal to symbol to say the green cup has the same amount as the red cup? We need the less than symbol. The green cup has 35 millilitres. 35 millilitres is less than the 50 millilitres in the red cup. And finally, we're going to compare the red cup and the blue cup. Should we use the less than symbol to say the red cup has less liquid than the blue cup? Should we use the greater than symbol to say that the red cup has more liquid than the blue cup? Or should we use the equal to symbol to say that the red cup has the same amount of liquid as the blue cup? We need the equal to symbol because both cups have 50 millilitres. And 50 millilitres is the same as 50 millilitres. For your guided practice today, we're going to have a look at the containers that you measured yesterday in your guided practice. You found that the red cup had 30 millilitres, the blue mug had 60 millilitres, the tall glass had 80 millilitres, and the orange cup had 50 millilitres. I want you to use the less than, greater than, or equal to symbols to compare these volumes in A, B, and C. Don't forget, if you're getting a bit muddled with the less than or greater than symbols, think of them like greedy fish or greedy crocodiles. They always try to eat the bigger one with their open mouth. So, some answers for our guided practice. For A, the red cup had less than the blue mug because 30 is less than 60. For B, the blue mug had less than the tall glass because 60 is less than 80. And for C, the orange cup also had less than the tall glass because 50 is less than 80. For your independent work today, you'll be using your 2B workbook and we're doing page 162. As I said, I think a few of you still don't have your workbooks, so I've put this picture into the PDF file. And I've also changed the pictures of the measuring jugs so the scale is a little bit easier to read. So if you're using your workbook and even in the workbook you find it hard to read the scale, you can have a look at this picture to help you instead, because if I just put an actual picture straight from the workbook into the PDF file, it got very, very blurry and you couldn't read it at all. So you can refer to this if it's easier to read, even if you are using your workbook. And the challenge for today. So we know at the end of the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears that in some versions they all make friends. And they have made friends here and they've decided to have a tea party. We've got some clues about how much tea they all want, but you're going to need to do some figuring out. Daddy Bear wants the greatest volume of tea. Mummy Bear wants 40 millilitres of tea. Baby Bear wants the least tea. And Goldilocks wants the same amount of tea as Baby Bear. Because remember, she always said his chair or his bed or his porridge was just right. So she wants the same amount as Baby Bear. So can you figure out how much tea could Daddy Bear, Baby Bear and Goldilocks have? I'll give you one clue. There is more than one option for each character. Good luck!